Alright, today we're solving and graphing inequalities. So we already solved before, but now we're going to graph them as well. Now to be very honest, if I had to rank this in like super importance of algebra, it's not very high. You're going to see it maybe a little bit here and there, but it's not the main part. But I still want you to see it so you're not confused. So go ahead and write the title. Now, I'm going to show you how to graph inequalities without even solving them. So go ahead and write how to graph and then write this inequality there. Okay? We're not solving anything because it's already solved. X is by itself. So, yet again, not solving on this one, I'm just graphing. And then go ahead and write you a little number line. So just draw a line, start at 0, and then tick off like 1, 2, 3, and -1, -2, -3. Pause if you need to write it down. If not, we're going to move on. How to graph these is pretty simple, but I want to go over some basics. If you remember in algebra, you've done this with domain and range. If it's greater than or less than, meaning there's no line underneath it, that is an open circle. Okay? So you should have learned this in algebra, but greater than or less than, basically if there's no line underneath it, you do an open circle. But if there's a line underneath it, greater than or equal to or less than or equal to, it is a closed circle. Okay? With me here? So, if there's no line, open circle. If there is a line, closed circle. That's all you have to remember. It should be a review from algebra, but if not, there you go. Okay, so here's all you do. Figure out what kind of circle you're going to use. Well, here I'm going to use an open circle because there's no line, right? You can even write open circle if you want to, but you don't have to. And I'm going to put it at 3 because that's what that number is, 3. So at 3, I'm going to go to 3, and I'm going to create an open circle. Just draw a circle there. Okay? So yet again, I drew an open circle because there's no line, and I put it at 3 because that's the number that's here. Okay? Now here's the part that some people have trouble with, some people don't. X is greater than 3. Okay? X is greater than 3. And what you want to write down here is the letter must be on the left. Before it didn't really matter, when you're graphing it does. So the letter must be on the left. Okay? And if it's not, I'll show you how to do that later. So X, this is greater. X is greater than 3. We need to think at that circle, are the greater numbers to the right or are the greater numbers to the left? And you're going to think, well, greater is going to be right. So all you're going to do, and this part's weird, is you're going to kind of draw a line going to the right. Sometimes you can like shade it all in if you want to, it doesn't matter, but basically draw a line going to the right with an arrow on it. Okay? What that means is that X has to be greater than 3. So X could be 3, or 4, or 5, or 100. So it's just going that way. This is the only new thing we're adding to this from what we learned before. Okay, kind of weird, I know. Let's look at an example. Go ahead and write this down. Okay, so we're going to solve the inequality like we've done before. We draw our line down the equal sign. I'm X, choose my best friend. I'm kicking out 4. The opposite of adding 4 is subtracting 4. Okay, that goes away. I'm left with 2x greater than or equal, and 24 minus 4 is just 20. Okay, and then I divide by 2. This should be very familiar. Do I flip the sign? The answer is no, because the best friend is positive, so the sign stays the same. And 20 divided by 2 is 10. Don't forget your line. Okay, so this is what we are used to doing. Alright, so that's the same as what we've been doing before. Now all we're adding is this graphing component. So underneath that, draw this line. Hit pause if you need to. It does not have to be perfect, just draw a line. Okay? Now when you're numbering your line, different teachers require different things. I'm just going to say make sure you have 0 there, so I'm going to put 0. But I know I have to get to 10. So maybe I'll do like 0, 5, 10, 15. It does not matter as long as you get 10 on there. And then I'll do -5, -10, -15. Yet again, this isn't as important as making sure that the graph is right. Okay? So just number your line. Now, I know it's going to be at 10, so it's going to be here. But it's greater than or equal to. Remember the line's underneath it, so you need to draw a closed circle. Okay? Closed circle there. And X is greater than 10. So are the greater numbers to the left or to the right? And you should say to the right. So you're going to go ahead and draw a line going that way. Okay? That line doesn't really matter how it looks. As long as it's going that way and there's an arrow on it, you're good to go. and that's it. So the only thing we're adding is this part right here. Okay, that's it. All right, now, what if I can get this out of the way. What if the letter is not on the left? So I'll show you that. Go ahead and write this down. Pause if you need to. If not, go ahead and draw your line. I'm X. I need to get rid of my best friend, so I need to divide by negative 17. Okay. 34 divided by negative 17, just to let you know, is a negative 2. Am I going to flip my sign? Yes, because best friend is negative. You're going to flip the sign. And that goes away, and X is here. Okay? So, we flip the sign because the best friend is negative, but our problem is that the X is on the right side. So here's all you're going to do, okay? You're going to basically flip this whole thing like a mirror. Go. So the X is going to move to the left. Okay? Negative 2 is going to come over here. Now with the sign, I hate using this language, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. Here, the alligator is eating the X. So when you rewrite it, you need to make sure that the alligator is still eating the X. Okay? If the alligator were eating the negative 2, basically just make sure it's opening to the same thing. Here it's opening to X. Here it's opening to X. Okay? If that's really confusing, please pause it and let me explain it to you in person so I can kind of show you. That's kind of a key part of this. All right, go ahead and pause and get yourself a number line here. Do that. Remember, you always put 0. Okay? I'm at negative 2, so I might just do negative 1, negative 2, and positive 1, positive 2. Could you go to negative 3 and negative 4? Sure you could. You could do all that if you wanted to. Do you have to? No. Okay? This does not have a line underneath it, so it's an open circle. So open circle at negative 2. Okay? And yet again, although this is my fault, we have a greater than. So I need to get rid of that greater than. Or not, sorry. Greater than means you're going to the right. So you just need to draw your line going to the right. Now, you could just go like here, or you could draw your line all the way and do that. Doesn't matter, as long as you have a line going to the right. Okay? That's it. Now, you're going to say, are they always going to the right? No. If this was less than, it'd be going to the left, which hopefully we'll see in a little bit. Maybe not. Okay. Let's try one like this. Draw our line. Your X, this guy's your best friend. Kick out negative 3. So the opposite of subtracting 3 is adding 3. Okay, that goes away. 12 plus 3 is 15. This should all be very, very, very familiar. Okay, then we get rid of the 3 by dividing. Am I going to change my symbol? Am I going to flip my sign? You're going to say no, because best friend was positive. So 15 divided by 3 is a positive 5. Same symbol, X. Okay. However, remember, X needs to be on the left, so I'll just rewrite the X here. I'll put the 5 on the other side. The symbol was eating the X, so the symbol needs to eat the X. Okay? So that part is pretty much the same as what we did. Draw yourself a number line. Pause if you need to. If not, make sure 0 is there. And if you want to get to 5, as long as you're counting by the same thing, so I'll just count to 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'll do negative 1, negative 2, all the way to negative 5. Okay? Yet again, you can do whatever you want here as long as the numbers are even. Okay? All right, so we're at 5 here. Open circle because there's no line. So open circle. And yet again, because I don't make great examples, we're going greater than. So greater than means going to the right. So just go to the right and draw your line. This last one better be less than. Oh, it is. It is going to be less than. Good. Okay, last example, then we're done. Actually, we have 2 more. Which one do I want you to do? We'll do this one. Okay. We draw our line. There's no number here, so it's a negative 1, and there's no number with the X, so that's a 1 as well. And then we distribute. Okay. I'm just going to multiply my head for you, but you do this in the calculator. Negative 1 times a positive 1 is a negative 1x. Okay. Negative 1 times a positive 4 is a negative 4. Is greater than 16. Okay. I'm X. Negative 1 is my best friend. I'm going to kick out the 4. The opposite of subtracting 4 is adding 4. Okay. Negative 1x comes down. The sign comes down. 16 plus 4 is just 20. Yet again, this should all be very familiar to you. And then we divide by -1. Okay, this goes away. I'm left with x. Do I flip my sign? And you should say yes, because your best friend was negative. And 20 divided by -1, just to let you know, is -20. Okay? On this one, though, I don't have a line ready for you. So I can show you how to draw an easy line by yourself. So you just draw yourself a line. Not very easy with one hand. Okay? Put arrows on it. I'll just put one at 0. And I have to get to -20. And I'm not going to count all the way to -20. That's going to be ridiculous. You can count by 5s, but all I'm going to do is I'm just going to put -20. And I'll go ahead and put +20. Alright? Yet again, the numbers don't matter as long as they're even. Like I couldn't put -20 over there and then 1 over here. The scale has to be the same. Okay? Alright, so x has to be less than -20. There's no line, so it's open circle at -20. And then it's less. So think less means left. So you're going to draw a line to the left with some arrows on it. Okay? So, yet again, solving inequalities, we've done before. This part's the only new part. So just be careful. If you need me to go over something and explain it to you again, go for it. Ask me questions. If not, go ahead and work on your assignment. Make sure you're drawing your lines and labeling them clearly. Because like when I grade this, this will be like, I don't know, 3 points, and this will be 3 points. Okay? So just kind of make sure you're doing the best you can. Let me know if you have questions.